And action. Good evening, everyone.
8 tips and tricks to get your application approved. Stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm with Billy and Sienna, rentals team, sales team. We're going to be talking about 8 tips and tricks to get your application approved.
Yeah, you're going to be Mother Teresa for those desperate rental people out there who are going through open homes, not having any luck, and need help.
Yes. Since obviously the market's in high demand at the moment and a lot of properties are on the market, we're getting a lot of groups through our open homes. I had about 15 groups come to my open on Saturday.
It's nuts.
Howard Avenue, heaps of people.
So why are there so many people out? What is it?
Look, it's becoming at the beginning of the year. It's summer. Everyone's kind of going in, wanting to get new properties, and especially I think not a lot of people want to move in winter.
So no one the existing people don't want to move?
Yes.
Not much stock on the market.
Correct.
And summer, the people that are moving feel good, ready to go.
Rent increases as well.
Rent increases. People are moving out because of their rent increases. Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
So that we've got there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of competition at these open homes, and we're going to give you 8 tips and tricks tonight that will help separate you from the rest of the pack in getting your application approved for the property your heart is set on. Yeah,
so a little bit about me. I'm in the rentals team. I'm a leasing consultant. I work under Cleo Whittier. And a little bit about Billy.
Well, I'm in the sales team, so helping everyone in everything. But I've got sort of 8 quick fire questions, and I want to see what your thoughts are, because you're in this day in, day out, and know probably better than anyone. I guess the answers to these questions. So
yeah, definitely.
What's the perfect lease period to put down on an application? Is it 6, 12, 18 months, longer?
All right, we'll start with a 6-month lease term. I think the pros with a 6-month lease term, if you put it on your application, if you're a first renter with no previous rental history, not necessarily a trial, but it can be more of, let's see how you go. Yep. In the property. Let's see if you can take care of the property. Let's see if you can pay rent on time. And I think that if you're a first renter with no previous rental history, put a 6-month lease term on there.
Yep.
You know, and I think also the cons of a 6-month lease term, it can be a little bit tricky when it comes to having to put the property on the market again.
Yep.
And if the first time renter didn't go too well, we're going to have to put on the market again. So it can be a little bit difficult for the landlord himself, and I think it can be quite intimidating for our real estate agents as well, because we're trying to get into another tenant in there, and a good tenant, because the landlords had trickies with a first renter. So I think it's based on trust as well.
So short lease term for the owner is a bonus, because they can have that trial period. And also don't want to be too short because they're going to relet the property.
Definitely.
But it's nice to know that there's a trial period. It could be longer. Is normal 12 months?
Look, 12 months is more common.
More common?
It's heaps common. And I think a lot of people with a 6-month lease, they go in there, they unpack, they get settled in, and they're practically packing up again.
Yeah.
So I think a 12-month lease is security for the landlord first. And second of all, you actually get to enjoy the property.
Yep. And is it a bonus to have sort of 18, 24-month lease?
Since I've been here at Novak Properties for about maybe nearly 8 months now, I have not seen a 18-month lease term, and I have seen a 24 lease term. However, I think that can be quite tricky, because if the 12-month lease, or if something was to happen within that lease term, it can be tricky because you have a lease agreement going 24 months. And I think a 12-month lease term is the best for your application.
I think another one to consider, guys, tenants, if you're out there putting a sort of 18, 12, 24-month lease term on your application, there's a lot of movement in the market at the moment. For owners, they don't know whether they might be, rents are shifting greatly as well. So 12-month review is a little bit more common. And, if the property, might be sold as well, they don't want to be maybe committing to such a long period. So 12 months is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Who's the best references to put down?
Oh, that I think everybody knows. Current references, including your current reference for your current address. So putting in the correct property manager or a private landlord, or if you do live with your parents, pop in the parents' name and phone number.
Yeah, I think a big one is if you can try and get a mobile number on your application, that's a really, really big positive.
Yeah.
Try to stay away from a generic landline. So if you're renting through Novak Properties, for example, get Sienna's number or your direct property manager's mobile on the application. Try to stick away from your generic landline.
And it can also make it quite easier for our leasing consultants as well, and more. We don't want to be calling up real estate agents going, do you know this person? Do you know that person? Because we're going through a lot of people to get to that one particular person as well. So putting the correct references and numbers are really important for an application.
Current mobile number,
yes,
current name, and if you're renting through an agency and you haven't spoken to your property manager in a while, find out who the most recent person is, because there's no point in writing down a name or number and they've left the business 6 months ago.
Definitely.
It'll certainly not make everyone's life easy. What's your 3 best supporting documents to put on attached?
Tenant ledger. Definitely, it is the best written reference, I would say.
Okay.
A lot of tenant ledgers, all tenant ledgers can't be frauded. You can't fraud a tenant ledger. So providing a tenant ledger, providing that can also benefit you in saying that you've had previous history, rental history. So tenant ledger, I also would say definitely bank statements. Why I say this is it can secure that you have passive income and you have secure income as well. So if there was something to go wrong within your employment, if you were to leave your employment, if things would change, we can ensure that you do have those savings, you do have that secure funds to back up your rent.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit more in depth as well than just a screenshot with a name on it.
Yeah, definitely.
And a final one that I really like is proof of ID, but with clear and really easy to see with a photo on it.
Yeah.
So a driver's license with an updated picture is always nice, or a passport, rather than something like a credit card with a name where you can't see a photo.
Yeah, and I'll definitely add on payslips as well. So it's basically evidence that you do work at that place that you've stated on your application as well.
Yeah, big one. What's the best way to apply?
Oh, now a lot of people go, should I apply online? Should I come into the agency?
Yep.
Go into the agency. Why not? Come in, have a coffee, have a chat with the leasing consultant, the property manager, explain why you want this property, why you're moving. And we as leasing consultants and property managers get to see your character. We want to meet you. We want to, have a conversation with you. So I definitely think the best possible way to secure a property is to come into our agency and have a chat. Have
a coffee. I think it can't hurt to put an online application in as well. Sometimes you can be a bit cheeky and do that actually before you've seen the property.
Now that is a great way as well.
Which helps really speed things up. So often on To Apply or realestate.com, you can actually get your application filled out part of the way, and then you add the finishing touches on submission. But that's a nice quick way to get in ahead of the pack. Apply ahead of time, come through the property, and then pop into the office, meet the property manager.
And you can also give us a call when you do apply. Say, oh, hi, did you receive my application as well?
Yeah. For people coming in from overseas, if you don't have a job lined up just yet, an offer of employment's a big one.
Yeah.
Or an offer, a visa acceptance, that's massive. I know a lot of people traveling in from overseas at the moment.
Yeah.
Looking for rentals. That's a really good one. And especially if you don't have a local contact on the ground that can provide a reference, add a written reference to that, and that's a little bit more certainty, which is nice.
Definitely. Awesome. So what's the next question, Billy?
Okay. What's the best date to put on the property? Like, when can you take the property on, or when can you move in?
I think when you pop in an application, the best possible way is to the nearest date. But this could also as a quality tenant, when we present those applications to the landlord and you've got great references, you've got previous history in rentals, you've got a great secure job, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to move in on the exact date. I think if you are a great tenant, the landlord thinks that you're going to be a great tenant in his property.
Yep.
It can be negotiable if they want to pack up all their things, get a little bit more comfortable, and then move in.
Yep.
I think that's a really big thing, but I do suggest when the property is vacant, as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think if you generally you have to click one date, it doesn't let you out of range or anything like that.
Yeah.
So if you can put the date that it says it's available from, and maybe add a note in below in the comments where it lets you saying you've got a flexible move-in date, or can tailor it to what the landlord's looking for. I think that's a nice touch. And you've got to remember, the guys, these properties are coming on generally with 2 to 3 weeks notice. So if you're looking for a rental property and coordinating that with a move out of your existing place, you kind of want to be looking 2 to 3 weeks in advance to give the property manager time and yourself time to make that move.
100%, definitely.
Anything to add there? No?
I think you said it all.
What's the best things to say in your tenant brief? So that's that little comment section. What's the best sort of
Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself.
Definitely. I think, a lot of people love to put down their hobbies, what they do, and that's great. Always put that in. We want to know your character traits. But I think it's also really important to put down there, why are you moving? Why are you vacating the property? What is your plan in the next 6 months?
Yep.
And I think that gives the leasing consultant an opportunity of where you're actually coming from as well.
Where you're coming from. I like a couple of dot points in there. If you're a no smoker, I think that's a big selling point for yourself as an applicant, that you can put down you're a non-smoker. No pets. Some landlords prefer no pets. Sometimes they prefer no children.
Yeah.
So you could potentially put that down as well if you're a couple. Small little dot points like that is a really big thing.
And also, I get applications where people have casual jobs. They might have 2 casual jobs or 1 casual job, but mostly sometimes I look at the description and they go, I'm a full-time student. And they can get income from Centrelink and all that kind of shamaz. So definitely putting in a description of what you're currently doing and why you are vacating your current property is a really important thing to put on your application.
That's it. Ask yourself, guys, when you're going through these properties, what is my point of difference to the other 49 groups that are coming through out of this 50 group open home? That's absolutely insane. What are my 3 points of difference? And if you can put that in a bullet point explanation, it makes life so much easier and it'll make you stand out.
Definitely.
And then the last one, why not call back the agent after the open home and thank them for their time and ask them, if you didn't get to ask any questions of the property, ask them then when they've got a bit more time.
I think definitely call the agent back.
I think that's a great idea.
We do have our business cards on the table when you walk in. We do have our property manager's business cards. And even if you just want to have a chat and see the process of an application,
Yep.
If you want to get advice on how to apply for the property, because a lot of people, they have a conversation at an open home, but they're actually not doing that application while they're at their open home. So going home, flipping up your computer, putting up the application, get on the phone with the leasing consultant or the property manager, go, look, what's the best thing that I can provide to boost my application, to make my application shine?
Yep.
And it's also great to just touch base. If you have any questions in regards to the maintenance, strata, electricity, water included, electricity included, it's a really good way to also meet them and just have a nice general chat.
Yeah, if you're going through an open home and you can see the leasing consultant is under a bit of pressure to cater for a large group number, rather than holding them up at the open home, definitely introduce yourself, ask a couple of quick questions, but looping back on a follow-up, can't hurt.
Yeah.
If you miss out on some information that you feel like is important.
100%.
But that's a 15-minute quick taster as to what the perfect application can look like. Tips and tricks with Sienna. That's the wrap. Any other points to add?
We'll see you at our open homes.
See you at the open homes. Applications in hand. And any other questions, guys, reach out. I'm sure, agency to agency, there's always going to be preferences. But we've just given you some of sort of the generic bits.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a rental, we've got plenty of properties on the market.
Yep, and coming soon as well. I know we just popped a rental on the market at the moment, Evans Street. So if you want to go and look on Novak Agency, straight
there you go.
600 per week, guys.
600 a week.
Yes.
Gets you into a cracker.
Woohoo!
And see you guys.